Hey, it's Brad here from CoachParry.com. Before we get into today's episode, I just wanted to let you know that we've been getting tons of questions about Comrades marathon pacing bands. And I've got great news for you. A little bit later on in today's podcast, we are going to share with you exactly how you can get your custom pacing band. So make sure you stay tuned. It's all coming up a little bit later on in this episode. Welcome on to yet another edition of Up. My name is Brad Nadalt. I've got the official Comrades Marathon coach, Lindsay Parry, with me once again today. Lindsay, how's it going? Nice to join you once again.
Yeah. And Flip, I can't believe how the weeks are flying by. We were mostly focusing on long runs not too long ago. Now we're almost about to start focusing on the taper. So, wow, it's amazing how a year has flown by, and now we are soon to be talking about race day. It's crazy.
No, it's mad. I mean, I can't believe we're in May already, but that is the case, and it's just over a month as we are publishing this to Comrades Race Day. 5 weeks to go is what we're in for. I know we mentioned it hard last week, but today is, if you're listening to this on the day we publish it, which is Monday the 6th of May, it's the last day for you to get your qualifying details, your club details, all that sort of admin done. So even if you think you've done it, just go and double check. Do yourself a favor. Press pause, go over to comrades.com and just make 100% sure. The last thing you want to do is miss out on Comrades because of some admin error on your part. So definitely go check it out and just make 100% sure that you have entered all that info. Lindsay, it's pretty much done and dusted. Everyone who's in it now is in it because qualifying's done. There's no more chances to qualify. There's a little bit of training still left through last big week of training. And then, as you say, it's time to put the small wheel on the front and cruise into Comrades. Not quite, but almost there. Let's just talk a little bit about, in this podcast, a little bit about the guys and girls that you've joked about throughout the series, those that don't like their family and don't have friends, those training for silver. They've still got a long run coming up. And then we're going to talk a little bit about getting through this final week and just making sure that we are getting to the taper in one piece, because I think everybody is feeling frazzled by this time in their Comrades training. But let's talk about the silver runners and the final group that are doing their long run this coming weekend.
Yeah, so it's four weeks to go this weekend coming. And that is when all your contenders and your Isabel Ross Kelly's, Wally's, Silvers, they will be doing their last Comrades long run. So, yeah, I mean, with the silver medalists, again, there's this real temptation to go to the 60 to 64K. I spoke about it in quite a bit of detail 2 podcasts ago. And yeah, I don't like it. 50 to 55, that's my go-to number. Just enough to get you tired enough to know what it's going to feel like on Comrades Race Day. And then without rehashing too much of the last 2 weeks, the whole point of this is not so that you can beat your chest and go, I'm fit and strong and look how fast I ran 50 to 55 Ks. Nobody cares or even asks who came first at the Comrades Club long run. So you're not proving anything to anyone, not yourself and not your club. Go out there, genuine training run, learn what you need to learn about Comrades Race Day, finish your training off well, and then we are going to talk about tapering and getting into the taper in next week's podcast. But for the rest, Brad, I think the main focus of this week is really, okay, now we're tight. So, we've spoken the last few weeks about how people are fitter than they've ever been. We've been trying to hold them back and stop them from ruining it all by improving their seating and all of this kind of thing. But really now reality is hitting home. In the southern hemisphere, it's dark and it's cold. You're tired, possibly even getting a little bit sore. And we are into the last genuine week of training. After this, it really is time to start cutting back with 4 weeks to go to race day. So I think that's what we need to chat about now.
Yeah, there's a word in South Africa that a lot of our international runners won't know, and I'm going to teach them that word now because it's quite important in the South African lexicon, and that word is gatvol. it means I've had enough. I'm up to my eyeballs in it and I'm done. And that's how a lot of Comrades runners are feeling right now. They are feeling gutful. Lindsay, thankfully, there is light at the end of the tunnel. It's not a train that's coming. The actual hard bit of training is just about done. And then it's not that you're just going to stop and cruise into Comrades. There's still a bit of running to do, but the actual build is done this week. Let's talk a little bit about sort of if we are feeling gutful and just getting through this week. What can we do? What are some of the strategies to make sure that we get through this week not hating ourselves and hating life?
Yeah, so Brad, I thought you were going to go with another South African word, which is fussbait or hang in there. And that's really what the next few weeks is about. So we are going to start tapering next week, but Brad's right. When we taper, it's not like we suddenly stop training. We're still going to be doing a fair bit of training. And I think what's important now is that you all understand this, that where you are now, that's normal. You can't get fit without building fatigue. So I said that a few weeks ago, but now you're getting to the point where that fatigue is possibly starting to get unmanageable. So yeah, we're going to talk in a bit of detail now about how you get through that. But I think what's very important here is we must differentiate between fatigue, illness, and pain. What we don't want is to be training and pushing this last bit through illness. We don't want to be pushing through injury or pain. Okay, it is important to finish off your training if you are capable, but your bigger risk of not finishing is if you make yourself really sick or if you worsen that injury. And I think for webinar like 17 in a row, I can't remember, not webinar, podcast, I don't know how many we've done in total, but I'm going to say it again. 68% of the people who don't finish Comrades start with an injury. So I'm not telling you to push through pain. If there's pain, you phone the fire truck and you get them to your house because your house is burning down. You don't want to be injured now, but if you are injured now, you want to take care of business. Okay, you are not going to train through it. And as part of my tape, I'm really going to again talk about injuries again in the next podcast. So how do we get through this week? We are tired. We are struggling a little bit. It is dark outside. It is cold outside. We have colleagues that are sick. We don't want to get sick. So how do we manage all of this stuff? And the best way to manage getting through the training is to manage your recovery. So we did in a lot of detail on a few webinars and in the early podcasts, I spoke a lot about sleep and sleeping well. And right now, that's probably the best thing you can do for yourself in terms of getting yourself through this training and making sure that you recover well. And that is like prioritizing sleep and getting into bed that 30 to 60 minutes earlier than normal. That'll be a huge tick in the right direction. The second thing is to make sure that you really quieten your brain before you go to sleep. And we do that by getting off screens, staying away from blue light, maybe reading a book or having a conversation with somebody. But we don't want that stimulation that comes from watching TV, being on your laptops, scrolling through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all of those things. And then very importantly, creating an environment that allows you to sleep quite well. So one of the good things about being cooler is that we tend to sleep better when we are cooler. Okay? We don't want to be freezing cold, but our environment is a bit cooler and it's easier to get ourselves a bit warmer than to cool ourselves when it's very hot, okay, outside, because we need to use like artificial thing like a aircon, and the aircon makes the air dry. So even though you cooler, having dry air is also not great for making sure that you stay healthy, sleep well, and recover. Okay, so we want to have a coolish environment that's dark, that doesn't have any extra light. You don't want like a red light on a TV or a very bright alarm clock. You want the room to be nice and cool, quiet, and dark. In bed a bit earlier, quieten your mind, and nice, cool, and dark. And if you do those three things, what you're going to do is massively improve your body's secretion of growth hormone and testosterone. And those two things are really going to help you to recover better, repair better, and to suppress your cortisol, which in turn is going to help you sleep better. So that's the reason we want to create this very positive sleep feedback loop for the next couple of weeks, because although it's very important to help you get through this week, it's also really going to help you recover and get fresh and get yourself to race day healthy over the next weeks, which is why I really want to stress on that point. And then similarly, your nutrition. If you can just make good choices around nutrition, make sure that you are eating well, make sure that you're not skipping meals, make sure that you're eating as fresh as you can. And then if you can't and you struggle with time and you're having to use a lot of meal replacements and that sort of thing, that you are also then just getting in a vitamin supplement so that you can just help make up for a little bit of the shortfall. But you really want to just double down and focus on recovery, rest when you need to. If you feel pain, leave it out, get yourself treated. But that is how you get through this last week and minimize that fatigue, is just make sure you recover to the best of your ability.
Lindsay, I have to laugh. We often talk to people and try and get them not to like chase their runs and see if they can get faster in every single run, because people just love if there's a number, they want to improve it. That's just human nature. It's like whatever gets measured, you want to make sure it's better. And I haven't actually told you this, but I just wanted to take a quick break from today's episode to let you know that if you are after a Comrades Marathon pace band, we have got you covered here at CoachParry.com. We've been getting tons of questions about them in the build-up to Comrades 2024. And the good news is you can order your custom Comrades pace band right now. So if you're looking to run an 11:43, or maybe you want to run a 9:57, or perhaps you are going for a 7:25, we can create a custom pacing band for you right now. All you need to do is head over to coachparry.com/pace. You can also scan the QR code that's on screen right now and make sure that you get yours. We'll print them out and make sure that we've got them for you ready at the expo in Durban in the 3 days leading up to the Comrades Marathon this year. So order them now and make sure you pick them up from the Coach Parry stand at the expo at the Durban Exhibition Centre in the 3 days leading up to Comrades. So if you want to grab your custom pace band, you can now. coachparry.com/pace. And don't grab just one. Make sure you've got a plan A, plan B, and a plan C, because you never know what's going to happen on Comrades Race Day. I haven't actually told you this, but I have a new game that I play with myself, and it is got to do on my watch. Obviously, it tracks my sleep score, and that is my new favorite thing to do, is to see if I can beat last night's sleep score, even if it's by one, just to try and beat it. And I got like 93 out of 100 the other day, and I was like, woohoo. My wife was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm celebrating. She's like, why? I said, because I slept well. I promise you, I felt like a new person. It is amazing. And that is one number we don't mind you chasing and improving, is definitely improving your sleep score. If you have a watch that does it, play that game. It'll change your life. Sleep is definitely a superpower that people don't talk enough about.
Yeah, and look, we talk about this in the webinar often, where we go like, look, guys, it's only 6 to 8 weeks of your life. Well, now it's only 3-4 weeks of your life that we really want you to dial in on that on that sleep. And even if it's just the next 2 weeks, which, next week and talk about taper, but the first week of the taper cycle probably doesn't feel like that much of a break, but then 3 weeks, 2 weeks, those feel like real step changes. But for these 2 weeks, while you are tired and you're struggling, you chase that sleep score, because if you can hit those numbers and you do sleep well, as Brad said, you just feel so much better. It's going to do so much for you. And really where I was going with this point is that we only have to focus on this now for a very short period of time. So it's only like another 2-3 weeks of telling your significant other, sorry, we can't stay out late at night. No, hey, it's 9 o'clock, I have to get home. Or them going out on their own again, and people asking like, hey man, where's so-and-so? Doesn't he like to hang out with us anymore? But all of that stuff just for a few more weeks to just really dial in on that sleep.
I'm quite disappointed that you're saying we only have to do it for the next few weeks, because I quite like this. I'm chasing my kids to bed. They're like, Dad, we don't want to go to sleep now. It's only 6:30. I'm like, I need to be in bed by 7. That's my thing at the moment.
You keep going, and the Comrades runners do it for as long as they like. But for most people, it's hard to do. So I'm just trying to say, do it for this time. The time is now.
Yeah, I'm not letting my wife and kids watch this. That's for sure. And I'm going to keep this one away from them because I want to get to bed early again tonight. That's the plan. And then, Lindsay, you mentioned sleep and nutrition play a huge part in recovery. Is there anything else we can do? Do things like massages help now? Do things like those, I don't even know what they call those boots, those recovery boot things. Would doing things like that and those sort of ice baths, foam rolling, if you haven't been doing it up to this point, would that sort of stuff help you at this stage in your Comrades training?
Yeah, the short answer is yes, definitely. The longer answer is if you aren't doing the very important and basics right, like eating well, sleeping well, and taking your rest and recovery, then not so well. I mean, probably better than doing nothing. But I can speak for me personally. The compression boots and a percussion gun or massage work absolute wonders for my muscles and keeping my hips nice and open and loose and mobile. Ice bath work less well for me, but I've got people that I work with that the ice baths work wonders for them. So all these peripheral recovery modalities: compression socks, compression boots, ice, massage, foam rollers, percussion guns, all of these things they absolutely make a difference. And I would encourage their use, but I'd say it's much more important to get enough sleep and eat well over these next couple of weeks. Those are the two things that will make the biggest difference, and all the rest of the stuff will make a nice difference if you're getting those two things right.
And then I would also be remiss to say anything, because I don't want people to think that we're abusing state resources here. That you mentioned calling in the fire brigade if you have an injury. You don't want to be calling in the fire brigade. Just so you know, it's a metaphor. Lindsay's saying call your physio, not your fire department. But let's talk about that, Lindsay. I mean, we've spoken lots about injuries, and being sore is not being sore is normal, but you are going to be tired and fatigued. What happens if you are worrying that you've picked up something at this late stage in your Comrades training? How do you tell if it's something serious that you do need to, as you say, call in the fire brigade, or is it something that just a few days of rest and recovery can help, or something that the taper will sort out?
Yeah, and that last point I think is where everybody goes, and that's I think what we need to warn against. That now, this late in the training, hope is not a strategy. So we don't hope that we're going to get better. We don't finish the training and then hope that the taper is going to take care of the injury. That is not a strategy. We need to get it sorted out. And how do we make these decisions? Okay, so because we are late in the training, the first decision that you need to make is whatever is hurting you, does it alter your gait? So if it's pain that alters your gait, then it's an easy decision. You need to get an appointment with a physio or rehabilitation specialist. You need to know what you are dealing with. You need to know what the recovery times are for those, and you need to know what the treatment protocols are to give you the best chance of being injury-free. If it's something that doesn't change your gait at all, then, and it gets slightly better while you're running, and then very importantly, once you have stopped running, it gets better quite quickly. In other words, it doesn't linger after the session. That's probably something that you could train with, lower intensity, and get treated at the same time. So don't ignore it, and don't hope it's going to slowly get better. If it's doesn't alter your gait, but it definitely increases in pain while you're running, and or once you've stopped, about an hour to 2 hours after running, That's the first kind of point that you check. How sore is it or isn't it? And then again, when you get up the next morning, did a short run today, or does a short run today mean that tomorrow I can definitely feel it when I get up and walk around? And if the answer to those is yes, then you have to stop running and you've got to get it treated in the same way as option one. So the only time you can carry on running and get treatment is if it's something that definitely doesn't interfere with your gait, it gets better while you're running, and it doesn't come back immediately after you've done the exercise. Those are kind of the three broad categories that I would use. And then once we actually physically get into the taper, it doesn't matter. If there's something sore, you leave it out. You rest a day or two. If it's not better with a day or two, then you get treatment. But now, while we're in this last little bit and you're trying to make this decision, should I, shouldn't run, you can use those broad guidelines.
All right, we've discovered that I like sleeping, and I'm not a huge fan of going out at night. But now's also quite important, I think, Lindsay, because we've seen this happen a few times where people end up doing something in this final stretch in the build-up to Comrades that has catastrophic results when it comes to Comrades. And it's things like your best mate decides he wants to take a paddle and he's looking for a paddle playing partner. Now's not the time to start playing paddle. Like those sorts of things. I mean, we had a couple of years ago, someone, this was literally a week before Comrades, had never played volleyball in his life and decided he was going to play a game of volleyball and ended up breaking his leg. So, I know we don't want to be stick in the muds, but like now's not the time to be doing something that could put you at risk of picking up a major injury.
No, I mean the work golf day or your son's athletics day at school. That's not the time. I was I was driving with a friend the other day, and he was laughing at me because I told him my son was telling me the other day, Dad, you're such a fast runner, but every time you run at the school athletics day, you always come last. And I'm like, yeah, boy, because I want you to have something to cheer for, but I'm not risking my hamstrings to prove that I'm a little bit faster than the other dad. So absolutely, going on a skiing weekend, playing paddle, tennis, golf, whatever it is, just don't do it. It's literally, you've got to be boring for a few more weeks. That's as simple as it is. Look, I guess if you can treat it like I do and take all the competitiveness out of it, maybe you can still do these things. Like I honestly don't worry. I don't worry unless it counts for something. So winning the dad's 100-meter race is never going to score high on my list of priorities. And if my mate beats me at paddle, I also don't care. So I'm not going to overstretch and rip my groin off the bone. But no, I play it safe, be boring, and after Comrades, you can find out if there's something that's a little less painful and easier to prepare for than Comrades.
Yeah, and if you're looking for, I know some people find it really hard to say no. And you need an excuse, just tell them you have to wash your goldfish's hair. You're not available. I've got to wash my goldfish's hair. That's it. That'll get you out of anything. So there's a free pass for you. Lindsay, as always, great to catch up. Thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to the taper more than most, I think. And that's what we're going to be talking about next week on the podcast. Don't forget to share and subscribe to this channel if you are in running groups. I know all of you are. Please do share it with your running mates. That's the only way we grow this thing. Lindsay and I take a ton of time putting these together. We hope you enjoy them. And that's a bit of that gentleman's agreement. We give you something for free because, as they say in South Africa, nothing for mahala. We need something back. So make sure that you do like and subscribe and share this with your running mates. So until next time, from the two of us, it's cheers.